Mario Kart World!
A brand new entry in the Mario Kart series typically only happens once a generation, which is why it's so great that it's the first main game to appear alongside the Nintendo Switch 2. After 11 years since the last completely new game in the series, Mario and friends are back for what appears to be their biggest racing adventure yet, in Mario Kart World. With a star-studded cast and taking the once individual course-based gameplay into an open world, there's a lot of new features and landmarks to see here. The biggest change to the Mario Kart gameplay formula this time is that there are more players to compete against for the top spot. Races now feature 24 players, and as a result, the tracks are much larger. If there was a way for me to describe it, I'd probably say, the front is the heart-pounding competitive side, the middle is a total war zone, and being toward the back sends you into crisis mode, looking for any items to bring you forward. To sum it up, this game brings back the chaotic nature of the older games that makes Mario Kart a fun time, especially with friends. And chaotic is seriously the best word to describe it. You can be in first place and all it takes is a single green shell to knock you back 15 places. It feels frustrating in the moment and almost as if the game doesn't necessarily reward you for being a skilled driver, but never frustrating enough that it makes me want to actually not play the game or feel it's totally unfair. It's kind of funny how in previous Mario Kart titles, earning 6th place would feel devastating, but here it's more of an optimistic feeling. The CPUs are also out for blood this time. They're constantly pulling off these insane maneuvers and feel like an actual challenge compared to those of 8 Deluxe. You can't relax if you're in the lead even for a second because they will always be on your tail. The courses and track design are some of the best in the whole series, with each stage having a unique theme that helps it stand out from the rest. Most twists and turns are fun, and the addition of driving on the water and flying with little plane wings on your kart or bike have allowed for some really creative elements on the track design. I also really enjoy how the retro tracks aren't labeled as retro tracks and typically aren't one-to-one recreations. If you know the retro tracks, then great, it's a bonus, but if you don't, they're just another landmark that seamlessly blend into the new continent that's been created for the game. The standouts for me here are DK Spaceport because I love all of the references to the original arcade game they've stuck in here, Toad's Factory, which was one of my favorites from Mario Kart Wii and plays exactly as I remember it, and Boo Cinema because it's such a creative theme for the stage and fits the character nicely. The new iteration of Rainbow Road is also incredible and might be my favorite in the whole series for a multitude of reasons, but that's better left as something for you to see for yourself. As an experienced Mario Kart veteran, it didn't take any time at all for me to adjust to World's controls and gameplay style. I love how bouncy the game looks and feels. Even though this may just be because most of my time was spent on 150cc, it's a pretty fast game too. Fast like how a kart racer should feel. New to Mario Kart this time around is the ability to drive on walls and rail grind across various rails and fences scattered across each course and in between. These new capabilities have caused me to view the course ahead of me in a new light, and I'm constantly scanning in front of me for anything that can help cut a corner or gain a little bit of a speed boost to stay toward the front of the pack. There's a sense of risk versus reward, where if you fail to make one of these shortcuts, it could very well send you to last place. You can also now charge up a jump by holding the drift button without steering, which is very useful for hopping over cars, items, and even other racers. It's a simple addition that drastically changes the well-established Mario Kart racing formula, while still remaining accessible and not alienating any new or inexperienced players that may not be able to pull it off. Mario Kart World is also full of plenty of unlockables, which is great. Only one cup is unlockable, but it adds 4 fantastic courses as a reward for playing through the rest of the game. You can earn different costumes for each character by eating different dash foods across the map, which is a method that I really enjoyed as it encouraged me to try and play as different characters depending on what course was selected, as well as exposing me to a variety of different playstyles in the process. I especially enjoyed how you're not always guaranteed to get a new costume when you eat the food, because while I may have unlocked most of the costumes fairly quickly, it wasn't instantaneous and most of my time racing had some sort of tangible reward to show for it. You can also unlock certain enemy or NPC characters to play as, such as the Pianta or Charge and Chuck, if you're affected by Kamek during the race, which served as motivation for me to try and stay toward the front of the pack. Some characters have a surprisingly little amount of alternate costumes to unlock, while others don't have costumes at all. It kinda makes sense for the enemy characters such as Goomba or Boo, but it leaves me wondering what, if any, post-launch content the game will receive. Like previous entries, carts and bikes are also unlockable as you collect certain amounts of coins. The vehicle part you receive is entirely random, and you'll get a new part every 100 coins or so until you have them all. I found this to be a fun incentive to try and max out on 20 coins every race, to be sure I had the most probability of getting a new cart piece until I eventually had them all. Gone are the days of picking a body, wheels, and glider before each race, and I couldn't be happier. Reverting back to the traditional method of selecting a cart or bike found in earlier entries simplifies the selection process and makes it more beginner friendly. It also speeds up the process when I'm playing Mario Kart with friends or family who aren't as familiar with the mechanics. The last main collectible that you earn are stickers, and there are tons of them. These serve as small cosmetics that appear on your cart or bike, as well as next to your icon when playing online. Stickers are acquired through completing various P-Switch missions across the open world map, or by earning accolades such as how far you've driven total or how many tricks you've pulled off. It adds a layer of expressiveness in the game when playing online with others that allows your character to be a bit unique, and I'd love to see the options for customization be taken further in the future. Grand Prix is the first of many modes that Mario Kart World has to offer. A staple of the kart racing spin-offs, Grand Prix received a bit of a drastic change this time around. Mario Kart World features 7 cups of 4 courses to begin with an unlockable 8th cup as a reward for completing the initial 7. There are 30 unique tracks to race on, which may feel like a step backwards from the final tally of 96 in the previous Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but World more than makes up for it through the expansive world map available, so there's always some new path to keep things fresh. In the past, Grand Prix featured 4 tracks to a cup. World, while still featuring 4 tracks in a cup, introduces the idea of having players drive across the map from one course to the next. These intermission segments are fine, but I would have preferred spending more time going around each course instead of just one lap on them. Getting to see the world that makes up the course as you drive over to it is a fun gimmick at first, but it becomes tiresome when your performance on the way to the track matters more than the actual course itself. Even so, there were often moments where I didn't realize we had reached the final lap already, and the race was over before I knew it. I wish Grand Prix had the ability to disable these modes and stick to the traditional 3 laps around the circuit or just one full run of a section-based course. However, let me just say these intermission sections aren't bad, it just feels like more of an actual Mario Kart experience when you're going around rather than from point A to point B. It's the reason I tend to lean more toward the Versus mode, because you can choose each course individually and choose not to drive between them to the next. Just to quickly touch on battle mode, coin runners and balloon battles are here too. They're fine, definitely my least played mode so far as the racing is much more exciting, but you're given a selection of race courses that are closed off and you drive around rather than the dedicated battle maps. You hit others with items to get the top score. It's nothing new here, but it is elimination style this time, so once you're out, you spectate. And again, it's fine, it's just definitely the least exciting part of the game for me. I hope they add some more new stages, or maybe even some of the other battle modes featured in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because as it stands, 2 modes just really isn't doing much. One of the new modes found in Mario Kart World is Free Roam, available at the literal push of a button from the title screen. Free Roam does exactly what it sounds like, and lets you explore this vast open world without racing restrictions. You can seriously drive virtually anywhere. It feels a bit empty at times, but as you drive around, you can encounter literally hundreds of P-switches that offer mini challenges, some of which truly test whether or not you can grasp the game's new driving mechanics, such as wall jumping or rail grinding. Others pay homage to the retro tracks featured, or can simply be collect all the coins, or get through these rings to get to the end. In addition to the P-switches, there are also Peach medallions and question block panels to find, all of which offer stickers as a reward. While roaming around, there are also opportunities to take control of a larger vehicle like a UFO or a giant 18-wheeler, allowing you to traverse the map in a whole new way. It's a cool upgrade for a short period of time, but it wasn't really a feature I made too much use of. Free roam can also be played online with friends, but it's a more watered down version of the already sorta bland experience. Free roam online is basically the waiting room that's available online, only the P-switches are removed and you can't take on these challenges with friends. Peach medallions and question block panels still appear to be on the map, but the only benefit of playing this mode with friends online is to drive around the world aimlessly or make use of the built-in photo mode. I understand how at times it can feel boring, and yeah, it feels aimless after a while, but I try to be optimistic and look at it as more of a laid-back or casual addition to this game. It leaves quite a bit to be desired and is unfortunately one of my least favorite parts of the game at the moment. But I've spent a lot of time in free roam mode, and I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface of how many P-switches and challenges it has to offer. Another new mode is Knockout Tour. In addition to the 8 cups found in Grand Prix, there are 8 additional cups known as rallies in the brand new Knockout Tour mode. Here's where the game gets the most serious. Instead of racing to be the first one to complete each track, you're now driving across the map and through every track, aiming to be the last racer standing as anyone in low positions at various checkpoints gets eliminated. This is easily where the most fun and replayability of Mario Kart World lies. It gets intense really quick. It's a heart-pounding feeling to make sure you're in a high enough position to qualify by the time you get to the checkpoint, which is heightened by the fact that you're given a crown anytime you hold first place. And it's devastating to lose the crown. I swear I can feel myself nearly breaking a sweat as I try to make my way forward, mashing the item buttons and holding down the gas stronger than I ever did to try and push ahead as quickly as possible, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You see someone have a huge lead and you start praying that any sort of item will bring them to a halt. Knockout Tour is easily the most fun I've had with Mario Kart in years, and it'll continue to be the mode I keep coming back to. The items allow the gameplay to be as hectic as ever, with the inclusion of some items that were absent from 8 Deluxe and now returned, or imported from the mobile game Mario Kart Tour. New to the Mario Kart series with World are 3 new items to shake up the gameplay as you race for the top spot. The first of which is the golden coin shell, which acts similarly to the red shell. Instead of locking onto a player, it follows a path, typically through the middle of the track, hurting anyone in front of it while leaving a trail of coins before exploding into more coins. The next new item is the Dash Food. These bags of food can be found at various food pop-ups around the world and provide a speed boost when consumed, similar to a mushroom. As mentioned previously, this food also changes your appearance if you're playing as certain characters. The last of the brand new items is Kamek, who summons enemies and hazards onto the track in front of the person who used it, and transforms everyone in front of the user into a certain enemy depending on where it was used. There are also items that are basically new for anybody who didn't play the mobile game, such as the hammers you can throw and the ice flower, and they all shake up the gameplay in their own way. Some items, like the golden mushroom, can bring you from last place to first place if you know which corners to cut, making it a bit more favorable to pull this time around, especially in Knockout Tour. The visuals of Mario Kart World are the most graphically impressive that the series has ever seen, thanks to the new Switch 2 hardware. Ditching the sleek and futuristic or semi-realistic approach to the graphics, we get to explore a more playful and cartoony atmosphere. All of the slight modifications that the characters received actually make them look like they belong in the same universe, and now we're free to drive around as them in a colorful open world. The game is displayed at 1440p in docked mode and 1080p in portable mode, and I can't think of a single instance where I experienced any sort of frame drops. Even while sharing my screen on the built-in game chat or being bombarded by 20 items at once, the game is the smoothest Mario Kart experience I've ever played. Talking about the soundtrack, Mario Kart World may have the best original soundtrack to any video game I've ever played. I even joked that the real price of admission here was for the hundreds of new arrangements, and the gameplay is just a bonus for all of the incredible music you get to listen to. But this may very well be my favorite video game soundtrack of all time. The songs for the new tracks are all catchy and pretty memorable. I've especially found it difficult to get the main melodies for DK Spaceport and Rainbow Road out of my head. Mostly found in free roam and during the intermission segments, there are hundreds of new remixes. There's such a wide variety of tracks spanning Mario's history, and not just the kart racing games. They're all beautifully reimagined and arranged in such a way that allows them to be familiar and fresh. It's also incredible how the team pulled some deep cuts from the Mario-adjacent franchises like Wario and Donkey Kong, and even some of the arguably smaller Mario titles like the Super Nintendo's Mario Paint. I've gone through so many tracks so far, and I know that I still haven't heard all of them. Between the music and the vast character selection, it signals to me that Nintendo wants this to be their Mario Kart equivalent of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it could very well become that. I hope in the future we get some sort of jukebox or music player in the game because they're all genuinely fantastic. They never get old. Mario Kart World is more of the chaotic racing gameplay that fans have come to know and love over the last 30 years. It's a great entry in the beloved series and is sure to keep players busy for hundreds, maybe even thousands of hours to come. The gameplay is some of my favorite in the series, combining the precision of 8 Deluxe in the newer entries and the pandemonium of classic games like Double Dash to create what I would consider to be near close to the perfect Mario Kart. Determining whether or not the game is worth the $80 asking price is entirely subjective, and you should spend the money you earn on what you think is worth it. Personally, I've already put so many hours into it that I think I'm gonna get my money's worth, and I probably already have. I'll continue to play this for a long time. The game keeps a smile on my face the entire time that I'm playing it. If you're a fan of Mario Kart, this one's a no-brainer. I can't recommend this game enough. It may not be the game to persuade you to pick up a Switch 2 right now, but anyone familiar with the series knows that it's a fun time for all, gamers or not. Mario Kart World is a great evolution of the series, pushing multiplayer mayhem to new extremes while never losing sight of what made the games fun to begin with.